His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Gauda Vaishnavani ki jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasati Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopya Samakun, Radhakun, Giri Govardhan ki jai, Shri Vrindavan ki jai, Shri Maya Pranavidam ki jai, Ganga Maya ki jai, Jamuna Maya ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Go Premanandi, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, Descriptions of the Kingdom of God. Nice chapter. Text number 32. Munya Uchu Ko Vam Ihaitya Bhagavat Paricharya Yochais Tad Dharminam Nivasatam Visama Swabhava Tasmin Prashanta Purushe Gata Vigrahe Vam Ko Vatmavat Kuakayo Parisan Kaniya Munio Uchu. Now is this the Brahmasmi? Kovam ihaitya bhagavat paricharya yochais. Tadharminam nivasitam visama sabhava. Tasmin prasanta puruse gata vigrahe vam. Ko Vatmavad Ko Akayo Parisan Katiya. Munya Uchu Govam Ihaitya Bhagavad Paricharya Yochais. Tadharminam Vivasatam Visama Sabhava. Tasmin Prasanta Puruse Gata Vigrahe Vam. Ko Vatmavad Ko Akayo Parisan Kaniya. Munya Uchu Kovam Ihaitya Bhagavad Paricharya Yochais. Tadharminam Nivasatam Visama Sabhava. Tasmin Prasanta Puruse Gata Vigrahe Vam. Ko Vatmavad Ko Akayo Parisan Kaniya. Matajis. Muniyaha, the great sages, Uchuhu, said, Kaha, Hu, Vam, you too, Iha, in Vaikuntha, Itya, having attained, Bhagavat, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paricharyaya, by the service, Uchai, having been developed by past pious actions, Tadharaminam, of the devotees, Nichasatam, dwelling in Vaikuntha, Visama, discordant, Subhavaha, mentality, Tasmin, in the Supreme Lord, Prasanta, Puruse, without anxieties, Gata Vigrahe, without any enemy, Vam, of you too, Kaha, Hu, Va, or Atmavat, like yourselves, Kua Kayaho, maintaining duplicity, Parisankaniya, not becoming trustworthy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki. The sages said, who are these two persons who have developed such a discordant mentality, even though they are posted in the service of the Lord in the highest position and are expected to have developed the same qualities as the Lord? How are these two persons living in Vaikuntha? Where is the possibility of an enemy's coming into the kingdom of God? The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no enemy. Who could be envious of Him? Probably these two persons are impostors. Therefore, they suspect others to be like themselves. Purport. The difference between the inhabitants of a Vaikuntha planet and those of a material planet is that in Vaikuntha all the residents engage in the service of the Lord Himself and are equipped with all His good qualities. It has been analyzed by great personalities that when a conditioned soul is liberated and becomes a devotee, about 79% of all the good qualities of the Lord develop in his person. Therefore, in the Vaikuntha world, there is no question of enmity between the Lord and the residents. Here in this material world, the citizens may be inimical to the chief executives or the heads of a state, but in Vaikuntha, there is no such mentality. One is not allowed to enter Vaikuntha unless he has completely developed the good qualities. The basic principle of goodness is to accept subordination to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sages, therefore, were surprised to see that the two doormen who checked them from entering the palace were not exactly like the residents of Vaikuntha. It may be said that a doorman's duty is to determine who should be allowed to enter the palace and who should not. But that is not relevant in this matter because no one is allowed to enter the Vaikuntha planets unless he has developed 100% his mentality of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. No enemy of the Lord can enter Vaikuntha Loka. The Kumaras concluded that the only reason for the Dormans checking them was that the Dorman themselves were impostors. Om Gyanam Tamarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshramalitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukram Kotavatalang Pangundang Hayate Garim Yat Kripa Taraham Vande Shigaram Dinataranam Vanchakapa Trivyascha Kripa Sindhu Jevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. I was given a class once in Ujjain, India, and as I was given the class, a person walked in, blue skin, peacock feather, yellow dhoti, yellow kurta, everything. I was like, what is this? I couldn't believe it. So he was imitating Krishna, imposter. There's a lot of imposters. Prabhupada used to say that in so many countries they're exporting things. He said, in India, every couple of months there's another incarnation of God being exported. So there's a lot of cheating. But of course, in this pastime here, it's interesting that Krishna, he just wanted to play. He wanted to fight. So he wanted some demons to fight with. In the spiritual world, there's no one to fight with. He play fighting, but not like real fighting. So Krishna wanted to do some real fighting. So this Jaya and Vijaya became the personalities that Krishna would fight with. Of course, play fighting also in one sense, because who can fight with Krishna? Seriously, there's no real serious fight with Krishna. Because Krishna, he's the Parameshvara. He's the supreme controller. This is the month of Purushottama, and it's described that that it's a good austerity to chant the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Nirmana moha jita sangadosha adhyatma nityava nivrittikama dvandvar mukta sukha sangya gachanti mudha paramaviyam tat. That Krishna explains that one who is free of false ego. See, we have false ego. Most of the people in this world, practically everybody, has a false ego, a false understanding of who they are. Ego just means identity. So there's a false identity of who they are. Our real identity is that we're servants of Krishna. This is our true identity, which we're trying to awaken. It's there, actually, it's dormant. And by this process of Krishna consciousness, we're bringing out this dormant devotional attitude towards Krishna. It's not easy, because the material world or the material nature is very difficult to overcome. Daivi hesu ganamai mama maya duratya mame vipajante maya metam charantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome. Radhanath Swami was speaking about this, and he said, actually, that's an understatement. It's very, very, very difficult to overcome Maya. Very difficult. But one who surrenders unto me can cross beyond this material nature. So what does that mean to surrender to Krishna? There's these 6 ways of surrender. Anakoyasya sankalpa pratikoyasya varjan rakshishititi vishvasya goptrate saranamyata. To accept things favorable for devotional service. Srila Prabhupada is so expert. He's set up everything in this movement so nicely. In the morning we have this nice program. Everything is favorable. And it's like we have these 5 things that are most important. Chanting the holy name of Krishna, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, sadhu sangha, associating with devotees, sadhu sangha nam kirtan, chanting the name, sadhu sangha nam kirtan, Bhagavat Shravana, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Mathura Vas, living in the holy places, worshipping the deities. So we're doing all these wonderful things. What a great way to start the day. What a great way to start the day. So our great fortune is that we came in contact with Srila Prabhupada, that we came in contact with this movement to help us come to our real position as servants of Krishna. Nirmana moha. Moha means illusion. To get us out of this illusion. What is the main illusion in this world? People think that I'm American, I'm Spanish, I'm Russian, I'm Greek. This is the big illusion. So this process of Krishna consciousness is also meant to help us come out of this illusion and to go to reality. Tamasima jyotirgama, come out of the darkness and go to the reality that we're servants of Krishna. Come out of this darkness that we're these bags, bones, and so much nonsense. Jita Sangha dosha, and give up bad association. So much, actually the devotee once, or someone asked Prabhupada, why do you, it was Swamiji back then, why did you start this movement? He said, well, I need some association. I need some devotee association. When Prabhupada went, I mean, you can imagine, he came to America, there's no association, there's no devotees. It's amazing. But he had his spiritual master in his heart. So he had this great devotee, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in his heart. And the instructions were there as well. But Prabhupada wanted to make devotees. Just like here, we want to make devotees. But imagine if you're here in Los Angeles and you're the only devotee. Kind of scary, huh? No association. So Prabhupada wanted to make a society of devotees. And he did. Such a powerful, powerful, powerful personality. Yeah. So now, wherever you go in the world, you'll find association. I travel all over the world, and all over the world, now I have friends all over the world, so many countries, by the Shakti of Srila Prabhupada. Big, nice, happy family. They're Namana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha Adhyatma Nidya, one who understands the eternal. It's not easy to understand that we're the soul. As Charyavat Pashiti Kashchidenan, as Charyavat Chanya Anyata Shoti. That some, they look on the soul as amazing. Some describe the soul as amazing. Some hear of him as amazing. And some, even after hearing about the soul, can't understand it at all. It's Krishna's statement. Just to understand that we're the soul within. It's a big challenge. Because we grew up thinking that we're this body. You know, just like when we were born, our parents were coochie coochie coo, you know, pinching our cheek, you know. And just we grew up thinking we're this body. And then all of a sudden we get the Bhagavad Gita, or we get one of Prabhupada's books, and, well, wait a second. I'm not the body. Now we hear that, and it makes sense. And that's the reality. But to realize that, we're not the body, that we're the soul, that's a huge step. And when we realize that we're the soul within, then it's much easier to understand the Supreme Soul. But if we don't even understand that we're the soul, very difficult to understand the Supreme Soul, Krishna. Especially also because we have these contaminations from before coming to Krishna consciousness. So much dirt. So much dirt. But Krishna, he's known as, in the Bhagavad Gita, it's said that that he is that who purifies. Krishna is so pure that anybody that comes in contact with him, they get purified. He's so pure, inconceivably pure. Prabhupada said they just read one line of my books, they take a step forward towards Krishna. Yeah. He said, just touch the book. Yeah. Just like 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya appeared. And some of the ladies in the neighborhood where Lord Chaitanya had appeared, they would go to Sachi Mata's home and they would hold Lord Chaitanya in their hands. Imagine that, they're holding God in their hands. Similarly, when Krishna was here, they would go to, the mothers would go to Mother Yasoda and they would hold Krishna in their hands. So the book and Krishna are non-different. So they're holding Krishna in their hands. When we hand people a book, they're holding God in their hands. Like there's one devotee, Parameshwar, was distributing books, and he handed the book to one person, one student, and the student said, "This book is powerful." And he said, "That's because you're holding God in your hands." He said, "Oh, all right, well that makes sense." Right? So, yeah, these books are non-different than Krishna. And therefore Prabhupada emphasized so much to read the books. And this is the best way to get the best association. Because Prabhupada, he's in his books. He said, everything is there in my books. Everything is there. So if we just hear nicely, then we're associating with Srila Prabhupada. And we feel the purification of Srila Prabhupada's presence. So this is the best association, to associate with Srila Prabhupada, because he's there with Krishna. He said he would be reading his own books, and Shruti Kirti would say, "Prabhupada, you're reading your own book." He said, "I didn't write these books. They were written by Krishna." So Krishna was writing these books. And this knowledge is timeless. You could read it over and over and over again. And each time you read it, you get new insight in the subject matter. It's ever fresh. This is the nature of Krishna. It's like Krishna, he was blessed that whatever you speak will be ever fresh. Who gave him that blessing? Besides Archita? Sandipani Muni, yeah, his guru. Of course, Krishna doesn't need a blessing, but he got this blessing. Nimana moha jita sangha dosha adhyatma nitya vrinivritti kama. Now it gets even tougher. Getting free of lust, our old enemy, Mr. Lust. Evam bure parang budva samsubhihatmanam atmana jahi satang mahabahu kamarupam. Is that right? Kamarupam Dharasana? Yeah. So knowing oneself to be transcendental in material mind, senses, and intelligence, one should carefully engage in Krishna consciousness and slay this formidable enemy known as lust. This is the greatest enemy of the soul, this lust. Formidable enemy known as lust. If you have some iron and you have a magnet, they're naturally attracted, right? But if the iron gets some rust on it, if it gets a lot of rust on it, then there's no more attraction. Finished. Right? But if you scrape that rust off, you scrape and you scrape and you scrape and you scrape, eventually the rust will be gone. And the natural attraction of the magnet and the iron will be there. So we have this lust covering the soul. And by this chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we're scraping this rusty lust off. And also by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, this also helps in scraping this poison. It's poison actually. Scraping this poison off, and eventually there'll be no more rust, no more Maya, and there'll be a natural attraction of the soul to Krishna. It's a very nice thing to look forward to be a pure soul. Possible by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Guru, it's possible. So nirmana moha jita sangha dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritti kama dvandvara vimukta sukha dukkha sangha. The one who is free of the dualities of happiness and distress. So much duality in this world. Happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor, happiness, all these dualities. But when we become Krishna conscious, we transcend dualities. Because Krishna, he is the Param Ishvara. He's the supreme controller. So whatever Krishna arranges is good. It's all good. So therefore for devotees there's no anxiety. Everything is good. Everything Krishna arranges is for our growth, for our advancement in Krishna consciousness. We just have to learn how to tolerate. Prabhupada says in one purport, better to tolerate than to protest. Quite often we protest. Someone does something to we protest. Something happens. Why did God do this to me? People protest the actions of God. It's like Prabhupada used to say how in Germany there was the war, World War II. And the ladies were all praying to God, please send back my husband, send back my son, send back my father. And many of them didn't return and became atheists, demanding, God, give me back my father, give me back my son. And he doesn't come through with that? There's no God. Demanding, God, give us our daily bread. Prabhupada said, we're not interested in this bread business with God. Automatically, everything is being given, not only to the human beings, but there's so many animals and insects. It's amazing. Krishna is supplying everything that we need. We don't have to pray for it. It's automatically coming. But what we should pray for is a desire to serve Krishna. This is what we should fervently pray for. A sincere desire to serve Krishna. And if we have this desire to serve Krishna, then we're happy. But if we just try to be, try to satisfy our mind and senses, we'll never be happy. we'll never be happy, because this is not who we are. And if we serve Krishna, we give our life to Krishna, try to please Krishna's senses. He has senses also. Try to please his senses. That's what it said. Patram pushvam phalum toyam yome bhaktya priyasti. Tadaham bhakti snami prayatam. He says, if one offers to me with love and devotion, twice, love and devotion. This is what Krishna is interested in. Love and devotion. He doesn't need anything. He doesn't need our offering. He doesn't need anything. He's Atmaram, self-satisfied. But if we give our devotion to him, he's very pleased. It's even described that he's conquered. God is conquered. He's Ajita. He's unconquerable. But he's conquered by devotion. This is God. Yeah. Nothing is more attractive to Krishna. And everybody wants love, isn't it? This is the attractive thing in this world. Everybody wants love. Wants to be loved and to love. Of course, most people want to be loved. Yeah. So, it's there. This love is there. Nityasita Krishna prema sajjikavanu. Shravanadi sudachiti kuriyudoi. This love for Krishna, it's there in the heart. It just has to be reawoken. Now it's kind of sleeping. So we're trying to wake up now to the reality that we're the eternal servants of Krishna. Nirmana moha jita sangha docha adhyatma nityava nirvitika dvandvar mukta sukha dukkha sangha gachancha mudha paramavya. And who, unbewildered, surrenders unto Krishna, such a person, he can come to me. So we have to come out of this bewildered state and become unbewildered so that we can serve Krishna nicely. We have to serve Kamarinam Katina Katita Palita Durni Desas Tesyam Jata Maina Kurana Trapa No Pashanti. Rupa Goswami, he says, for so long I've been the humble, menial servant for many bad masters. But they've never shown any mercy to me. I've never wanted to give up serving them. But now, my dear Lord Krishna, you've given me transcendental intelligence. And I no longer want to serve these bad masters. Now I just want to serve you. So, better serve Krishna than our mind and senses. Recently, this book that I've been trying to write for 10 years came out. And there's many nice stories. This what I just told you reminds me of one. There was a boy that was that received a book from a devotee, and another devotee met this person the next day on campus. And this person was talking to about 4 other students. And when this devotee offered the book to him, A Science of Self-Realization, this person who had received the book the day before, he told his friends, dudes, you gotta get this book. This book is amazing. I used to be an atheist and I hated people. I read this book yesterday and now I believe in God and I love people. And he pulled out $50 and gave it to this devotee. And this person he was actually glowing, and his hairs he was just he was ecstatic, you know. And of course all the people there bought books, and this devotee also gave this person more books. He just gave $50 a student. You know, that's pretty rare. I don't think that's happened to me once. You know, does that happen? Yeah, that happens to Brigapati all the time. But that's pretty rare. But he didn't even ask for it. He just gave it because he was so inspired. There was another person, also he was an atheist. He got a book and he read it. And he told one devotee, I used to be an atheist. Now I believe in God. God is a person and his name is Krishna. So he took it further. That was you. Wow. That was Vijaya Prabhu. So this is the power of Srila Prabhupada's books. Very powerful. I don't know if many of you know about how Vijaya Prabhu joined. He was reading different books on transcendentalism and just spiritual books, and he came to the conclusion that everything is one. Everything is one. So one friend of his got a BTG, and he gave him 25 cents for a BTG, and he went to Vijaya Prabhu's apartment, knocked on the door, and he's in the room, but he wouldn't answer because he's thinking, I'm him and he's me. Why should I answer the door for myself? Don't mind about it. So he said, I know you're in there. I have a magazine for you. Here it's on the floor. Come and read it. I think you'll like it. So then after he left, he opened the door. He picked up this BTG, and as soon as he saw the picture of Prabhupada, he said, this is my guru. And he paid obeisances. Never heard about obeisances, but he paid obeisances to Prabhupada. And shortly after, he went to the San Francisco temple. And now we all know he's one of the greatest acharyas in this movement. So this is the power of Srila Prabhupada. He just saw the picture of Prabhupada. This is my guru. And then what to speak of all the reading. Actually, he met Prabhupada one time. Didn't speak to Prabhupada, but he met Prabhupada. He was in some temple, and one devotee said, Prabhupada, this devotee here is a very good book distributor. And then Prabhupada said, but does he read the books? Because that was a problem. The book distributors were distributing, but they weren't reading. So he didn't speak to Prabhupada, but he heard Prabhupada say that. And now he's like, there's nobody, I don't think of anybody on the planet that reads his books as much as Vijaya Prabhu. That just like really went into the heart. He's got a whole system of how long it takes to read the Bhagavad Gita, how long it takes to read the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's like unbelievable. So this is the potency of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada just said that, and it went into his heart, and like, I don't know if anybody knows Prabhupada's books as well as he does. Amazing. Good example, very good example to follow. I'm going to tell you a few stories from the book. The devotee was going door to door in Russia, and the lady that answered the door, this devotee said to her, I have some very nice books that I would like you to see. She said, I'm not interested, I'm not going to read them. But why? They're nice books. No, I only read books from one author. Well, but these might be good books. No. The devotee said, well, can I see the book? And she took him into the house, and she had a big bookshelf there. There was only one book. It was Easy Journey to Other Planets. And the devotee said, well, I have the books from the same author. She said, no, you're serious? I've been praying for more books. So she took all the books that he had and gave a nice donation. Now I got a really amazing one for you. There was a devotee, Prabhupada disciple, I forgot his name. He was preaching in Russia. And he heard that in 1965, we had the Cold War with Russia in the 60s. 50s also? I don't know if it's back far as the 50s. Anyway, we had the Cold War. So in 1965, Prabhupada came to America, September 17th. So one devotee had this Lilamrita at his home, and his grandfather was reading this. And when his grandfather was the person who was the captain, or there was a nuclear submarine stationed to start World War III, and the captain of the ship, when he read when Prabhupada had arrived in America, September 17th, 1965, he said that's when he got the message, don't shoot the missile. And they went back to Russia. Amazing. I read that, I was like, whoa, that's amazing. See, this Krishna's in control of everything. Right? So they got that message and they went back to Russia. I have one from Archita Prabhu. He was working at the BBT. He answered the phone. Lady said, I want to sponsor breakfast and lunch for the devotees for, I forgot how long, for some period of time. And Archita asked, well, why are you so favorable to serving prasadam to the devotees? She said, when I was 7 years old, I died. But in some very mysterious way, I was taken out of my body, and I was taken to many places by a personality. And then I went back into my body, and I lived again. And then just a few months ago, I saw a devotee carrying Krishna book. When I saw Krishna, that's the person. That's the person that took me mystically around. So that's why I want to sponsor. And then she of course, she got all Prabhupada's books, just absorbed in reading Prabhupada's books. I mean, I read that, I was like, whoa. And you know, Archit is a pretty sober person, so. So I was like, wow, amazing. So, the books are here. I was asked to distribute them if anybody would like to have them. And Brigapati Prabhu suggested that if anybody wants, you could come and get a book and I could sign it. And they're being distributed by the LA Temple, so you could deal with Brigapati about the cost of the book. So before we do that, is there any question about the class? Yes, Archita Prabhu, or comment.
Thank you for a nice class, Prabhu. If you're going to be telling stories, you've been distributing for decades. What's the most outstanding that you've been involved in directly yourself? The biggest story that you can tell anybody that you've been involved in distributing Prabhupada's books.
Well, there's a lot of them.
Topmost.
All right, the one that sticks out the most
Yeah.
right now is when I was in Australia. I was going door to door. And person answered the door. It was an American. I was surprised. I said, "You're American, what are you doing here?" He said, I couldn't live in America because Nixon was the president. I couldn't live in a country where that person was the president. Many of you probably never heard of him. So I presented the Bhagavad Gita to him. And he said, "No, I'm not interested. I worship Satan." I said, "Well, you know, this book is all about God. So you should know your enemy." He said, "All right, good point. All right, I'll take it." He gave $20, took the book. Hopefully, he found out that Krishna is his best friend and Satan is his enemy. So, yeah, there's so many stories. One more, I'll give you one more. Since we're in Australia, I was distributing books right near the temple. You know, generally devotees, they go out, you know, like now we go out to the parking lots, we go out to the airport, we go out to the schools, right? We go out, but very seldom do we go right around the temple. So I was going door to door all around the temple there. This is in Brisbane. So one professor answered the door and I presented the Bhagavad Gita. And she said, "Oh, this is so, I've always wanted a Bhagavad Gita." She's a professor at the university. Here she is, he's living like 2 doors away from the temple. And we're there for years. And she was so happy to give a nice donation and take the Bhagavad Gita. And Vijaya Prabhu and myself, we also went door to door right around here, right around the temple. And so many nice people were taking books. So that's something that we could do. It's doable. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So if anybody wants. Brigapati said I should also sign it. So we'll do a little signing there. To Deva Vrata.